So, what are we driving?
Well, this is a Mercedes-Benz C-Class, and it's the all-new one. It's a very important car for Mercedes-Benz, obviously, apart from the fact that they build them in South Africa for export.
Oh.
Yeah, and then despite the popularity of SUVs compared with sedans, the C-Class still sells very well. So a lot of that will be to do with fleet, and other government guys like them still.
What do you mean fleet?
Fleet is when government buys a whole bunch of cars, basically, or hire cars. Avis buys a whole bunch of cars.
Would they buy a C-Class?
Yeah, you can certainly hire a C-Class. It's a different segment, yeah.
So what are the pros?
The pros are Mercedes-Benz has always tried to, well, so you get a C-Class, an E-Class and an S-Class in terms of its executive sedans. And the closer that Mercedes-Benz can get the C-Class to the S-Class, the better, because it makes you feel like your money's well spent. And they try and replicate the levels of comfort and refinement that are in an S-Class in the C-Class. And I think they've done it very well. Like, the materials are very, very, very nice. It's nice to touch, nice to feel. This screen is particularly impressive. It's massive. I think it's 30 square meters.
Bigger than an iPad.
30 square centimeters. Yeah, it's basically a tablet. So just like the workings of a tablet, you've got all your controls and functions within reach. Look, you still have to take your eyes off the road, which I don't quite like, but then you do have the Hey Mercedes function. I hope she doesn't. No, she won't. So you've got the Hey Mercedes function, which adds voice recognition to the party. Another pro is it's very big inside. It's very luxurious, a lot of rear legroom.
Fits the kids in well.
Fits the kids in well. You've still got a big boot. So remember we did a few years ago, we did that experiment where we took a GLC, which is the SUV version of this, and a C-Class, and we put the kids in both cars and we put the luggage in both cars at the same time, and you actually realize that there's a lot of appeal still with a sedan, that and the only real advantage of an SUV was the bumped up ride,
which everyone loves.
Everyone loves. I think there's a perception that somehow it's safer, or that
got better visibility.
Yeah, the visibility maybe, but that's the only argument you can really have, I think.
I must say, we haven't had a normal sedan for a while. We seem to have had a lot of bumped up cars.
Yeah, so
and getting into this is quite low.
Yeah.
Like, I think about someone like my mom, who's got the generation before this or whatever. I think people like our mom's age, or they would struggle a bit to get in and out.
It's a very low slung car, like I must admit. So this is an Edition 6 model, which has it's a limited edition. I think there's around 400 units that they're building.
It says Edition 6.
It says Edition 6 quite garishly on.
Beautiful, I think.
Yeah. It comes with an AMG kit, AMG wheels. AMG...
Does that mean it's fast?
No, it looks fast. And on that, I suspect that it's got a lower ride height than a standard car, and even then, the seating is very low. Like it's genuinely feels quite racy in here.
But it's very nice. I think this is the nicest infotainment I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it's very luxurious
and very comfortable. Like I said to you when I got in, okay, this is the first time I'm getting into this car. Wow, like this is very comfortable. I could definitely live with this.
Look,
every day.
This Edition 6 is 900 and call it 916,000 rand. It's not cheap. It is a fair amount of car for your money.
I seem to say that a lot.
Your cars are expensive, but this is an executive sedan, and in terms of executive sedans, this goes up against the 3 Series and an Audi A4. And I think Mercedes-Benz went from being the most luxurious of those three that generally appealed to an older crowd. I think Mercedes-Benz has now retained that level of luxury, but they've added a level of dynamic ability into the car, so it supposedly appeals to a broader selection of owners. This car even has rear wheel steering, so it helps it around corners. It's a very advanced, very sophisticated vehicle.
So where are we? Did I ask cons? No. What are the cons?
I think the cons are probably the price, which is pretty much, I think,
con and everything.
It's always going to be a con. Listen, oh no, it didn't scrape. It's very low. We've mentioned it before, but it's actually it's got funny plastic. I suppose it's to do with airflow around the tire, but they're quite low plastic inserts, and they've been scraping even on the smallest speed bump, and it's not a great sound. I initially got out and made sure I wasn't actually scratching the bodywork, but it's those plastic things, which is a funny oversight, and it takes away just marginally away from the overall levels of refinement. So I think that's the only con I can find. I think it's beautiful.
Very nice.
Listen, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you see, that wasn't bodywork; it was actually that silly plastic.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Well, you have kind of mentioned competitors, but let's elaborate.
No, well, it's a 3 Series and an A4, and both of those vehicles are under big pressure from the SUV equivalent. So an A4 is probably being outsold by a Q5. The 3 Series is under big pressure from X3, and this obviously has its GLC option. So those are the three main rivals.
And the SUV versions of these, or the bumped up, are they more expensive, or are they pretty much the same, just bumped up?
I think you can spec each one of them to be around the same. I think entry level price, the bumped up version will be slightly more expensive to start off with as a base car.
Oh. And would you buy one?
I'm not in this segment. I still feel like this is an executive sedan, so I feel like it's a boardroom cruiser, or I don't really feel as capable as it is as a family car. I don't think it's an ideal family car. I think there are other things on the market that I would buy over this as a family focused offering. So in terms of its rivals, so those three cars,
this I think is,
wow, I don't know, the 3 Series is very, very, very good. The modern 3 Series.
I haven't had it, so
yeah, it would be a close call between the 3 Series and this in this segment. But to answer your question, I think I would probably aim towards one of the SUVs.
Oh, I lost my train of thought. What I was going to say is, as a mom, I will say, when you've got kids in car seats, the lower the car like this does make it trickier strapping them in, because you've got to lean over and put the seatbelts in.
Yeah.
And I find that sometimes...
Yeah, okay, that's another tick for the SUV package.
Yeah, so the SUV package from that point of view is better if you have younger kids that you are
and
still
it's
having
also,
to strap in.
the negative is that you'll have to lift things higher to get it into the boot.
Oh, and I got no muscles.
Yeah. Cool.
Cool. Thanks.